Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining today's event with Spectrum Color, Oracle NetSuite, and Papri Cloud Technologies. Optimize business processes, save time, and increase revenue by 15%. My name is Jenny Mosley, and I'll be kicking off today's event. At NetSuite, I help manage our joint marketing initiatives with our alliance partners like Papri, for those of you who aren't familiar. NetSuite is the first cloud ERP founded over 20 years ago, and we have more than 28,000 customers in more than 200 countries across the globe. Also introducing Papri, our alliance partner. With the right mix of products, service, and consulting and support, Papri solves manufacturers' unique problems with unique solutions. They strive to help businesses obtain their individual goals while guiding SMB owners on their digital transformation journeys. Today, we'll be focusing on the joint NetSuite and Papri customer, Spectrum Color. They're the world's leader in specialty gel coat products, and today they'll be sharing their secrets to success and how the company was able to improve its business operations through partnering with NetSuite and Papri. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Today's event is being recorded and all lines will be muted during today's presentation. We'll also leave a little bit of time for questions at the end, so feel free to submit your questions in the chat throughout. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to our host, Lindsay, and we can jump into intros in the interview portion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate it. To kick us off today, Raquel, can you give us a brief background on yourself and the company?
Yes, so my name is Racquel Gregory. I work for Spectrum Color. I've been employed by Spectrum Color for a little over 4 years in what started out as a customer service position on the phone, and now I am operations manager of the entire company. I switched from hotel management into this field that 4 years ago, and it's been really, really great. So I've really enjoyed working with the company, and I've always tried to strive to make really good decisions to make us more efficient. We've been around for a long time, but not necessarily a big guy. We've been here since the 1950s. We specifically focus on gel coat, which is basically the hard covering color on a boat, which is not paint most of the time, and accessories to build and repair boats. We have a small company, like I said, it's about 14 people. And we've started in a garage in Washington, and we've now moved into a 2-warehouse facility in St. Augustine, Florida.
Awesome. Thank you. For the bulk of the conversation, we're going to be discussing your ERP journey. And to just start jumping in, what were the key business drivers for your ERP evaluation?
Particularly when I took my position, we were in need of some severe efficiency changes in productivity as well as inventory management. The train had gone down the tracks without a conductor, if you will, for a while. So we were looking for something that could really give us all the options that we needed in one place and that it would be quick and easy to learn.
What were your goals for your new ERP system? Why'd you decide to go with NetSuite and Papri?
Because NetSuite was really, there was a couple different options. We were originally in QuickBooks. We needed to get rid of that immediately. So we needed to level up and level up fast. We needed something within our budget. NetSuite did fit that for us. And also had just enough features that we could get our head around that could help us be more productive. We simply went with Papri because they came highly recommended because we wanted to do a fast implementation. When we decided to make this switch, we were roughly 3 months from our, biggest season of each year. And we wanted to get the ball rolling and at least have enough information to get going and have a very short implementation time. So we took what was recommended for us, but it ended up being a very good recommendation.
Love to hear that. Can you talk through how your company uses the NetSuite platform today?
Well, we are always actually using it a little more each day. I always find a little tidbit, like a pineapple, if you will, that I'm like, oh, it does this too. There's so many things that NetSuite does that we didn't even realize going into this journey. So as each day ticks along, we do actually change things and we use it differently. We use it every day, primarily for taking sales orders over the phone. We use it in our manufacturing setting. So all of those sales orders are transferred to a manufacturing setting where we build all of our own products in-house. Those are built off of bill of materials that have been worked in NetSuite, work orders that have gone through NetSuite, and then ultimately it goes to the shipping department through a transfer, if you will, of it's done. They know immediately when the work order is finished. It's just like a snap of the finger. They know it's ready to go. So our entire business module uses it, or model uses it, for lack of a better word. And like I said, I say day, at least each week, we're finding new ways to implement something new. For instance, just being able to email within NetSuite. I know that seems like a very small thing, but recently we've almost completely abandoned Microsoft Word so that we can align everybody. Everybody can see every email, every single communication, every sales order communication. It's all logged within the same thing. So it's super easy to find. So we're just using it daily on all kinds of projects.
Awesome. It sounds like you've gained a lot of efficiencies there. I'm curious, what additional improvements have you seen since the implementation? Have you guys discovered any benefits that you didn't originally anticipate?
Honestly, I would have to say it has really strengthened us as a communication tool. It's strengthened us in a way that we were about 10 to 15% higher in revenue in certain parts of this year than we were in the last, since we've started. And we haven't even noticed. Prior to switching to NetSuite, I walked into a crumbling, sad affair. Everyone was scared that something was going to crash, or we weren't going to have the right inventory when that hit, and people would need things and we wouldn't have things ordered in time. It's really taken a lot of the burden and pressure off of managing these little tiny things that everyone has to keep in their mind and make sure we move forward, especially because of supply chain issues and things like that. Being up is great, but also there's a lot of lacking in the actual industry right now. So being able to see the curve, if you will, that NetSuite kind of gives us, it's really been beneficial. It helps lay out a lot of information that we don't have to really keep up in here all the time. It kind of just reminds us along the way.
Yep. Yeah. Additionally, I'm curious, how did your company tackle the change management that comes along with moving to a new system?
There are a lot of videos. I did a lot of background work on you guys prior to switching. We have 14 people, so a lot of people are set in their ways. A lot of people don't want to change things. NetSuite had so many tutorials prior to launch that I had everyone look at and got everybody kind of healthily trained up, especially myself, to prepare. Knowing that we were only going to do this in 3 months, I wanted to try to get as much back info as possible. So it was really nice. It helped manage the change, all the tutorials and things I found online, for sure.
Yep. Are there any other current projects that you guys are actively working on now?
We do plan to expand. We actually just signed up for some different expansions. We got the planning and budgeting module, which I will say is not my department. That is the owner's department. However, what's great is I'm not an accountant and I don't run numbers. I run the crew, and that's where my expertise is. And knowing that I just helped him sign up for the business and planning module, I have no idea what it's supposed to do, but yet I'm able to help implement it, get it started. I can follow all the cues. I can basically do all the groundwork because it's so easy to set things up. So we did get that one to just help for future business and planning. But I also just decided to switch our web platform as well. And it was with the kind of suggestion of my NetSuite collaborator. She told me, it's pretty easy, Racquel, and we have a horrible website right now, a horrible website. So I wanted to really make sure this was going to be the right fit. Is it going to work? And she just told me, go ahead, Shopify. We have a connector. It's going to be real time. So it's really taken the headache out of managing our web store. We are just now diving down that rabbit hole, and it seems like it's going to be just as great of an experience, seamless and easy. And that's what I like.
Exciting stuff on the horizon there. Curious to hear you speak to your experience with Papri. How did that go?
I hold a small piece of my heart for Papri. I really do. I love who we worked with. Courtney Marvel and Patrick Thornton, they were my guys. I remember them by name just because they have helped us so much. I mean, I have, not to throw this out here, but I've bothered them so much. I have been on car rides to Little League baseball games on the phone. So I will have to say that they have been like our knight in shining armor, especially since we were going from such a rudimentary platform. I wouldn't want to say, I don't want to make fun of anybody here, but QuickBooks is a pretty rudimentary platform. It's pretty easy out of the box, easy to use. This was like a whole different world to us, a whole different flavor, if you will. And Papri really held our hand and helped tackle what we needed to tackle without a lot of the fluff. Like I said, we had 3 months. We are a very curt team, if you will. We say what we want and we say what we need. So they really handled our personalities really well and understood our goals, our challenges, and kind of rolled with the punches. And we really, really enjoyed working with them for sure.
That's awesome to hear. How have you grown since your implementation with Papri, switching over to NetSuite?
I would have to say that it did help me manage our time. I don't think I would have been able to wrap my head around every single thing we needed to do if I wouldn't have had Papri's help. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it by myself, but I definitely don't know if another team could have helped us because, like I said, we had so many things we needed to get done so fast. They were just like, okay, we get you. You don't need to deal with that. Let's go on to this. We get you. If you have questions later, we'll talk about that later, but let's get on this. They really got the meat and potatoes going for us. So it really managed our time and helped us solve what we needed to solve immediately. So it was just really great. I really enjoyed working with them and they did a really great job. I can't say that enough for sure.
Yeah, I've heard the same from the team as well. So that's awesome to hear. How do you envision NetSuite and Papri will enable future growth for the team?
Well, I do put this out there. We still use Papri. I still contact them. I mean, it's a year down the road and I still contact them on a weekly basis, asking them questions, seeing what kind of thoughts they have. I mean, even if it's not something they're building a report for or really doing anything in my system, they simply will give me advice, which is really great. I really enjoy that. So I see that we're probably going to end up having a long partnership with them. I do still use them as my tech support because they're comfortable and already set up everything in my system anyway. So if I have an issue, I always go to them first and they usually can get back to me very quickly. So I definitely think that not only did they help us grow, but we're going to grow together for sure.
Awesome. What's next for the company?
Because we have become more efficient, we have time now because before we needed 4 people to answer the phone and also I had to help. Now we have 2 people that answer the phone and I don't even get on the phone anymore. So that's opened up a whole nother position for one of my employees who is now going to start a rep network. He's going to be a commission-based rep network in the Southeast United States. We hope to go ahead and get more of those people on board and get all the way through the United States. But this is a project the owner has actually been trying to start for over the last 15 years, and we've never been able to get above the curve, beyond the curve, to get any of this started. It's always, what do we do now to solve the problem? Not what are we going to do now for the future to solve the future problem that we haven't even know what the problem is yet. So it's been super beneficial for sure.
Very exciting. No worries. That's very exciting. It sounds like you have a lot on the horizon there for the Spectrum team. Thank you so much, Raquel. I'm going to actually pass the mic to Jenny for the audience if they have some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Just jumping into a couple of questions we received. So Raquel, during the ERP evaluation, did you guys consider any other platforms aside from NetSuite?
We did. I still have people call us today who we did not go with. We were going to try something that was going to work alongside QuickBooks. That didn't seem to work. We were also going to try a huge program, which is called Microsoft Planes, I think was the other option we were going with. That was too big. My boss actually thought NetSuite was too big. He really did. And I don't know how many times he has brought me in the office on some other occasion and said, wow, Raquel, what would we have done if we didn't switch? You know, it happens so many times. So like I said, I did try 2 or 3 different companies. I wasn't necessarily into their engagement or their passion. I felt NetSuite really had more of a, you know, a passion behind helping the situation, figuring out my needs rather than me having to kind of regurgitate to them. So I really went with my heart, and I thought that you guys were somebody that could work well with us and help us along the way. And we've never looked back. 100%.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. Another question we received, and I know you touched on this a little bit, but how did you know you were really ready for an ERP? And were there any other key pain points that really sent you over that edge?
Well, there was a couple things. I had taken a hard look at what we were spending our money on. For instance, we had Salesforce. We were using Salesforce so that we could try to build that rep network that we never got off the ground. We were using Salesforce to try to log projects throughout the team. Nobody could wrap their head around, okay, I have to go from this platform to this platform to this platform. So everybody has to read this here and look at this information and link it all together. So when we saw NetSuite as an option that does all of that, that's really where we were like, aha, that's it right there. That's the way. That's the only way to do it. So that's our main thing for sure. We had so many other things going on, and NetSuite just really brought it in and tied up all the loose ends, and you don't have to go anywhere else. We actually quit paying for Salesforce. We don't have it anymore because we don't need it at all.
Got it. Great. And then another question, which again, I think we talked about briefly, but how did you really begin working with Papri, and how did the overall implementation go?
Like I said, the implementation was extremely easy. It seemed, I remember just like thinking of how many things I had to wrap my head around, and I just didn't have to. I had somebody to guide me through and say, no, focus on this, or these are the questions we need you to answer, these 5 right here, you know, and I'd get wrapped up in the daily life of doing business. And I know that's a scary point for a lot of people. I do stress that you do have to take some of the work home a little bit. You do have to learn on your own slightly, so you at least know the platform. But it didn't take me that much time. I thought between my job, my family life, and implementation that it was going to be impossible. And it really just was not at all. They made it so easy.
Awesome. And then it looks like we have one more question. What is the one thing Papri could have done better throughout this process?
Oh, I hate these kind of questions. These ones make you think like backwards. I feel like I'm at school when I have that kind of question. Let me think. Honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know that's probably a sad answer for the person that asked it. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything that they didn't. I mean, they sent me Christmas gifts, guys. They're such great people. They have been thinking about us forever. I mean, I can't really think of anything that they could have done in a better way. They warned me about everything. There's a couple things that, I mean, they were like, hey, you know, this might work now, but it might not work later. We might have to revisit things. They're very upfront, very, you know, easy to read. They didn't hide anything or keep anything back. So therefore they didn't really fail on any points. So they warned me of everything. So I can't really say that they didn't do anything that I should have thought they should have done.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, I don't think I see any other questions come through, but if anyone has any additional questions, feel free to reach out and we can email you separately with those. But just wanted to say a big thanks again to Raquel. Thank you for joining today's webinar and talking us through your experience. And thank you, Lindsay. We'll be sure to send out the on-demand version of this webinar afterwards. So in case you miss anything, you'll see it very soon. But thanks everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks, Raquel.
You guys.